Hello, Richard. It's a pleasure to meet you. You have an extensive career behind you, and your latest is this mockumentary, Swede Caroline. Very funny. Now, uh, your character is quite something in this. Describe your character in this.
Yeah, good morning. It's lovely to be chatting with you. Um, yeah, the character is great. He's an absolute conspiracy theorist who will always choose to believe in the ridiculous, maybe. But he was a joy to play. He's very out of shape and believes passionately in his own small little world. But he was a joy to play.
So, as he is a conspiracy theorist, I'm wondering, did you do sort of much research into conspiracy theorists, and what are your views generally on conspiracies?
I did do a fair bit of research into conspiracy theories, and I found, I mean, I think the internet is great for conspiracy theories. It's always much more enjoyable to look at what you think might be rather than perhaps what is actually going on.
Yeah.
But in terms for that character, he believes it's true, and so what I did, I ended up there was moments of improvisation in filming, and there were a couple of moments where he was allowed to go off on one, and I think I introduced a few conspiracy theories of his own that I'm not sure. I can't remember if they're in the edit or not. But I was very pleased with one about cat's eyes. Every 50th cat's eye is a recording device, spreading information on people's journeys. I was quite pleased with that. So if that one gets out there, I'd like to take the credit for it, but we'll see how that goes.
Were there any that you came across and you thought this is just too ridiculous? Well, obviously that one is a particular favorite.
Not necessarily ridiculous. I mean, some might say it's very feasible. I mean, the alien stuff is great. You know, it's not hard to believe that there have been cover-ups of alien involvement in the human race. So let's go with that one as a fact.
Okay, fine, right. Now, you've got such a diverse back catalogue of roles, but and of all the stuff that I've seen you in, this particular role seems quite different because I don't think I've seen you in quite such a potty-mouthed role what you've done in the past. So, in light of that, in light of the type of role that it is and how your character behaves, do you find it quite cathartic?
Um, Rather than feeling like everything feels like an extension of yourself slightly. I think the thing with I found enjoyable with work is trying to find the bits within a character that I go, well, I can go with that,
Yeah,
and making that convincing is the thing, and other people are always the judge of that. He was lovely to play because he's obnoxious and he's rude and potty mouth, as you say, but I think his heart's in the right place. It just you don't perhaps see that in the film until towards the end of his journey, and even then it's dubious because of what he still gets involved with. But I like with characters that you find something that you feel is new, but I think in a way every character you play is related in some way to the ones you played before. You know, I think it's almost impossible to totally separate one from another. There's always going to be things that link a character, but he was great because he there was an extremity about him. He was living on the extremes,
yeah,
and that's always appealing in terms of playing a character because then you've got something really to find your way to get into. It was also a delight to work in that team with the others. We were a very close bunch on this film, and it was friendship is at the heart of it. And there's about three outsiders, all of
yeah.
whom I think are on the extremes of society, and that's what bonds them together. So hopefully the love between them kind of comes through, but done in such a way that it's never sentimental or schmaltzy, but potty mouthed. Yeah, potty mouthed.
So, though this is a mockumentary or described as a mockumentary, it is scripted. There is a script credit, but I'm just wondering, along the lines of the best of the mockumentaries, and Spinal Tap being the obvious one, was there a lot of leeway for you to improvise and ad lib?
I would say that the script was absolutely beautiful. The script at the start, the film that you see is the film that was written in the script. There's no way it would not exist without Brooke and Finn's brilliant dialogue and story. But what made it really good, so that we absolutely followed the script, but what was so lovely about them and the way of working with it was they understood that in order for it to feel like it's natural, there are times when it needs to, you know, really go away from the page. And we were encouraged to like I said, to improvise, but we were always improvising around what was there. You know, the dialogue was very much the written dialogue was very much at the heart of what you see. But it's just lovely then as an actor to be given the opportunity to just veer from that and to make it feel like it's coming out your mouth for the first time. Obviously that's the job, to make it sound like dialogue is coming out your mouth for the first time. But it was a combination of those two, a cracking script, and just and when the situation called for it, we were just allowed to play around with that. So a lovely combination of those two worlds, really.
Because I can imagine with you know, when you get abusive with the insults, you were allowed probably free reign with that, I should imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we were, and I don't swear as much as he does. So being encouraged and allowed to do that in public when you got, you know, members of the public walking past going, "What on earth is happening here?" You know,
Yeah,
I'm not sure there was never entirely a closed set, shall we say?
right.
There are always the fringes of the world were kind of like growing, but yeah, yeah, it was true to his character. I hope it's not too offensive, but they've bleeped out several bits, which I think is good.
I'm
It
not going to
worked.
ask you what those were because we'll have to bleep them out.
Yeah, bleep it out in here as well. Yeah.
Yes. So, with these sort of comedies, and particularly with the like the free form of this style of filmmaking, I can imagine that there's a lot of humor and a lot of laugh and a lot of corpsing on set. Was that true of this?
Um, no, I don't think it was, because Kellen and Joe are absolute professionals. You know that the whole point is to capture something that you can use, that they could use in the drama.
Yeah,
So I think if the characters made the other characters laugh, that is fine. But in those moments, you wouldn't break character in order to, like, oh, that was hilarious, let's just do another take.
yeah.
What we wanted is for those moments to be at the core of the film. So I think we were. I'm sure there were moments that I can't quite recall where that might have happened, but for the most part, I seem to remember being very disciplined. The idea being to try and bring those characters to life. And if those characters were to find things funny, then that's in the film too. But it's a much better way round than having, you know, a small amount of material for the film and
Yeah.
3 hours of bloopers. Much better that it's this way around, I think.
Was there a particular favorite scene of yours in this?
Um, One doesn't spring to mind. There were moments where I can recall running around a football pitch for what felt like hours, swinging a spade over my head, trying to take out the coppers, trying to take him down. And at one point, did the first one. I was so full. It was the first day of filming, and I was so full of enthusiasm for swinging the spade around that I tripped myself up and fell over. I'm not sure they've got it in. I'm not sure that's in there, but there was so much enjoyable stuff. But because it's character based,
Yeah,
there was an enjoyable scene at the start where there's a scene in the tent, the vegetable growing competition, and corruption is discovered as taking place, and the place was packed with a load of supporting artists who brilliantly really gave themselves up to the day of it. And you know, you really felt the scale of the story in those moments where there's a couple of hundred people in shot, and things, ambitious days like that Finn and Brooke weren't afraid to go for. I hope that benefits the film, because it's not just a little chamber piece.
yeah.
No, I don't have a favorite scene. It was a joyous filming shoot. It was one of those, you know, a month of, it was a pleasure to go to work every day. It really was.
Now, going sort of veering away from the film a little bit, although you have, as I say, an extensive career over many decades as an actor,
Many decades.
yes, sorry, that's
Too many decades.
You're old, isn't it? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I've just got to take a rest in a minute because I'm exhausted. Here you go.
But you've turned your hand to writing, and I know that you've written scripts, TV script before, and that recently, you know, comparatively speaking, you've written a book which has been optioned for a film. Can you say any more about that?
Yeah, I can. It's the book is a story about a man who's 117. He believes he's the oldest man in Europe, and he wants to feel love one last time before he dies. So he goes back to his memory, and to recall all the people that he loved in order to get the feeling back, and it brings up troubled memories. So I wrote the book a few years ago. It was published 4 years ago, I think. Headline, Tinder Press. And Kellen, who I work with on Sweet Caroline, read the book and has a fantastic film company called Mad as Birds. They've produced some amazing films over the last few years, and a new film, Almond and the Seahorse, is out imminently, I think. And so I've written the script for them, and we have Tom Courtney attached, who's been a champion of the book, and I've worked with him. Tom has worked on a couple of scripts I wrote for Radio 4. And yeah, the script is written. We've got a whole team in place. It's just that thing, as you will well understand, and I'm sure viewers to the website will understand, that process of getting something made and financing is always tricky, and we get so close to it, and we're fingers crossed. It's you know, it's a phone call away, and we're at that stage at the moment. So nothing more substantial than that to report, other than we've got a lot of belief in it, and it's it would be a lovely project to make. So we'll see how that goes. The odds are always against you, as we well know in this industry, but you just throw it all at the wall and see what comes down. So we're doing what we can.
So then finally, we like to ask sort of actors and directors this, going right back many years, can you remember the very first film that you saw on the big screen?
The first film I saw, that's a great question. And the thing that's come to my mind, I think you'll be able to, I think it might have been Gone in 60 Seconds, the 1970s version.
Yeah.
Which, it was either that or was it Jaws? It could have been Jaws.
So Jaws was 75, and I think it was HB Halicki, I think, did the Gone in 60 Seconds.
Well done for having that information to hand. That is very impressive.
That's anorak that I am.
What year was that then?
Well, I think the original Gone in 60 Seconds was early. I think it might have been 74.
Okay.
But you'd have been very young to see a film like that.
I was from the north, so you just used to go into the cinema. No one stopped you. It was fine. It was I think it might have been Jaws, because it was a primary school holiday from Manchester to Paignton, and I'd caught chicken pox. I came up with chicken pox like a week or two before the holiday.
Yeah,
I was fine, but then on the school trip, everybody in sort of the year got chicken pox. On the holiday, I was not popular, and so I think myself and just a few others went in Paignton to the cinema to see it. Yeah, what a if that, let's say it was Jaws, because what a great first film to go to the cinema to see. You know, Ben Gardner's boat with the head coming down. Never shrieked so much in my life. Brilliant.
I think that worked for everyone. But I can't believe that you were in primary school, junior school, and they took you to see that. I'm surprised social services weren't there in.
It was I mean, officially, let's just to keep this sort of perfectly legal. I mean, we would have been 11, and it was what was the equivalent of a PG at the time?
I think it was a double A. Which
was it a double A?
Yeah, so which I think. Which would have made it 14. You've got to had to be 14 or over to see it.
Maybe we all said we were 14, but it was only me and 3 others. So everyone else had chicken pox. So you know,
fair enough. Or someone got in, opened up the fire exit, and everyone came in.
Into the door to the toilet. That's the one. That's the one.
That old trident.
And they say why no one's buying cinema tickets these days. You know, everyone's trying to get in. You can't get in at your local View through the window. It just doesn't happen anymore, does it?
And it was also the day where, you know, the films were just on a loop, so you could sit in the cinema and watch it 3-4 times.
Civilized.
That's why I used to do Bond films, but that's another matter.
People say people better buy tickets for Sweet Caroline. No one can creep into that one. It's you know, pay for your tickets, folks, for that one.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you, Richard. It
You
really
too,
has.
Simon.
Really enjoyed talking to you. So I wish you all the best for the film, and hopefully we'll be speaking about your film adaptation of your book very soon.
Thank you for that. I hope so too, and it's been a real pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you, Simon. Cheers.
Thanks, Richard.